In the early hours of Friday, September 20th, 2019, it's a crisp and cold early morning in late summer, and all of a sudden, a siren breaks the silence of the desert night, echoing across the many mountainsides that make up the southwestern portion of Nevada, indicating a mass infiltration of one of the United States' most secure and secret military facilities. It's abrupt and startling, but it could be heard for miles around, and everyone instantly knows what's happening. This is the great 2019 Area 51 raid. Will the Area 51 raid actually happen? Today we're going to discuss exactly that, and in order to do so, we need to come up with a game plan to figure out exactly how all of this would transpire. As of July 11th, a seemingly random unknown Facebook user decided to put out a post, supposing that the ever-notorious Area 51 location should be infiltrated on September 20th of this year, on the merit of seeing them aliens. And as unlikely and surprising as it may sound, I feel like it's very important to entertain this fancy of an idea, as over 1 million independent people have overall declared themselves to be attending this one event in the coming months. I think this indicates an uprising in American thought, a breaking point within the relationship of the people and the government, and therefore should be considered definitely more than just with a grain of salt. Because of this, I have created my own independent game plan, separated from all of the other so-called strategies to make this event transpire successfully. But in this instance, we are talking about breaking into the world's most secretive facility, so there's no doubt that they are listening in on my microphone right as I speak to you, but that just may be a good thing. First, we need to consider a fact that Area 51 is not one certain compound. Instead, it is more or less a city of different compounds spread apart over an entire area of land that's been used for multiple different reasons since the early 1940s. Primarily the initial nuclear weapons testing that was used for the late World War II and the early Cold War. So no doubt that there will be definitely a lot of radioactive fallout that still cover the premises of the area. This will definitely add a hazardous layer of inconvenience to any plan to make this go through successfully. However, with a correct methodical way of entry, we could avoid this to our best extent. Area 51 proper is not really an Area 51 itself. The actual technical name for it is the Groom Lake Testing Ground, and it's located exactly 82 miles northwest of the municipally populated location known as Las Vegas, Nevada, 36.7 miles away from the city of Alamo, and only a measly 28.3 miles away from the closest instance of civilization known as Rachel, a city with a population comparable to that of Bikini Bottom. The first issue arises on the fact that Area 51 is definitely not the most easily accessible location that we can access. Its location is precisely remote in between two mountain ranges in the middle of the Nevada desert, situated right next to what's known as a salt dry lake, which on a GPS map such as Google Earth would show up as just one of the plethora around that area. There are two access points to the base, a north and a south, both situated separately on two different roads that break off from the highway known as 375, also known as the Extraterrestrial Highway, which runs northeast relative to the base. Also, given the designated location of the actual Facebook event itself that hosted this insane trend, will arise some other problems that we may not have had otherwise. The coordinated event is set to take place in Armagosa Valley, Nevada, which is actually yet again another small city among all the other cities in the area, except located exactly 52 miles south of the base. This location is actually closer to Las Vegas than it is to the actual Area 51 proper location, and due to the fact that there are no direct roads that lead from this place or anywhere else to the Area 51 site, there will easily be a 4-hour drive just to get to the front gate of the base. So we're going to have to start to think outside the box for this one. 1 million people have pledged to go to this event on September 20th, 2019. So let's assume every single one of those 1 million people actually show up, because that's definitely the most likely situation. To fit 1 million people within the area of Armagosa Valley, Nevada, would be similar to trying to fit the entire world population location within the county of Los Angeles, it most likely wouldn't be that good of an idea to test out. So we'll assume that the entire area for a 1 to 2 mile radius of this entire city will be used to accommodate all of these people for the meantime. There will have to be a more efficient way to actually get from this location to Area 51 itself. We can take consideration from the pattern of travel that we can see certain white buses take to enter the actual Area 51 facility on a regular basis. The primary uses for these buses are usually to transport workers of Area 51 from off-site locations, and also as an inside transit system to get to different parts of the base. So this specifically will be our ticket on the way in. Now of course there's no way to fit 1 million people on a single bus, so we'll have to use logic to work around that. The only sensible way to get from Amargosa Valley to Area 51 is to backtrack around 50 miles down the 95 highway to enter Las Vegas again from the northeast. Then to exit off of the 15 northwest, and then to enter back onto the 93 highway, only to take that up around 70 miles before exiting onto the extraterrestrial highway known as 375. From this point on, you will reach the actual 2 different roadways that lead to the 2 different entrances of the base. Considering the fact that I don't think 1 million people would want to pay for that much of a gas price, we will assume only around 100,000 more dedicated individuals will be left after this point. So now there will be over 100,000 or more people in the area of Rachel, Nevada, only about 30 miles north of the Groom Lake base. At this point, it must be noted that there is not that much activity in or around the base itself. You will not detect that much government activity. There are no F-18s or helicopters flying in and out all over the place looking over the area, making sure there's no unsuspected people just walking right in. The land area of over 1,400,000 acres that Groom Lake base takes up is far too much to patrol all at once. This gives us a major advantage. The closest entrance would be the north entrance, which is actually more towards the east of Area 51. This will take you down a long straight desert road for around 12 miles before you reach the part of no entry. The south road is actually more towards the north and is closer to Rachel, Nevada itself, and will take you on a strenuous 15 miles before you even reach the front gate. So I think we can all begin to understand the scale of distance when it comes to this whole procedure. Now there is no gate that actually borders the Area 51 perimeter, which makes it quite easy to simply walk on in. There is no distinct barbed wire fence or electronic gate that's going to stun you if you decide to step over the border. However, what you will find a little bit of trouble with is these guys. These are what are known as the camo dudes, and they patrol the outward side of the base. You will see them 24/7 no matter what time you go, so there's no evading them. They will be stationed at different portions of the base, but most definitely they will be stationed at the front gates. So this is where the main distraction takes place. As indicated on other planned out maps for this event, we can see that there are certain amounts of individuals that are given certain tasks to enter the base with. However, I would like to alter that plan for this situation. I mentioned the bus earlier today. One particular spot of which the bus is known to dispatch from and enter the base is Alamo. So a small group of no more than 10 people are to actually go to the site in Alamo where the bus leaves and parks, and enter into the bus without anyone knowing. How will they be able to do that without being caught? Because 100,000 people will be walking straight into the base. This will set up so much of a distraction that there's no way that they would even bother monitoring buses that are over 30 miles away. On entrance to the base, nothing seems that out of usual. You won't instantly be fired upon or seized or have a bunch of things happen to you, nor will you see a bunch of UFOs flying all over. It will at first just seem like a continuation to the Nevada desert. You may get a couple of white vans that are chasing after you with some sirens on, along with some abrupt yelling from the workers within them, but this would be easily drowned out by the sound of 100,000 people wanting to see them aliens. As you approach the base, however, we start to actually encounter some problems. As we cross over the hill that overlooks the base, we enter into the area of which Groom Lake resides. 5 miles from the closest buildings that are located on the base, we start to see some frontline defense from the military. Apache helicopters are dispatched, along with a lot of tanks and mobilized units. Armed vehicles with multiple men in them will arrive at the scene. White vans, stationary ground turrets will be placed around the proximity of the base as well. However, this still will not be enough to stop 100,000 people. As they approach closer to the base within 1 mile, ultrasound frequency weapons are initiated to try to stun every single person left. However, it's still not entirely entirely effective against the most dedicated Naruto runners and Kyles that are left. They will storm into the base and run around like there's no tomorrow. When actually on the base itself, they will receive less problems and resistance than if they were actually entering it. Area 51 itself is more or less like a city, and there's not that much security on the inside than there is patrolling the outside areas. At the very most, you would see a bunch of frantic scientists running around trying to get to cover due to the lockdown that would be easily initiated. And this is when we take on in the bus. The hijacked white notorious bus filled with the 10 left people. This will storm through the north gate of Area 51 at 85 miles an hour. It will careen across the salt-dry flats of the Pepos and Groom Lake. And upon arrival of the base, we'll enter into a secure hangar of which there are aliens that are stored. This will have to be done in a timely fashion before each hangar is actually locked down due to the events that are happening. They will run in there, steal the aliens, pack them up into a secured bag, and they will also take some extraterrestrial material with them. Maybe take a few Instagram selfies along the way and then hop back into the bus just to ride off into the sunset. Well, I guess in this case it would be the sunrise, as all of this needs to occur within no more than 3 hours. So it's now 6 AM of September 20th, 2019, and America has its first civil obtained extraterrestrial species. And that's it. That's literally all that there is to it. Now, of course, anyone could realize that everything that I just said over the last 7 or so minutes is complete and utter nonsense. However, maybe it's not. Maybe someone out there will actually take this seriously. But to answer the question, will the Area 51 raid actually happen? The answer is no. This is a joke. It was always a joke, and it should be interpreted as nothing more than a joke. Do not go to Area 51 in the hopes of infiltrating it. There are definite reasons why the government has gone to such an extent to keep it secret from the public eye, and they are most definitely not scared to try anything to keep it that way. So please, if I were you, take it safe and watch from a distance, because at the very least, the events of September 20th will be nothing more than entertaining. And I will see all of you in the next video.